Chapter 1. Personal Information. 1. When is your birthday? When is your birth date? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? Where is your hometown? Where do you live now? What is your job? How tall are you? Do you mind if I ask how old you are? 2. May I have your name? Do you have a nickname? Did you have a nickname when you were younger? What is your family name? Do you have a middle name? What does your name mean? What is your mother's maiden name? Are you named after anyone? What names are popular in your country? What is the most common family name in the U.S.? 3. What is your marital status? What does your spouse do? How many people are there in your family? Where do your parents live? What does your father do? Is your father retired? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What do your siblings do? Are your grandmothers still alive? How many cousins do you have? How many children do you have? How old is your eldest child? How often do you hear from your family? 4. Where are you from? What is your home country like? What is your home country famous for? Who are some famous people from your country? What do you like best about your home country? What are the top industries of your country? What does your country export to Japan? Does your country have a national symbol? Does your country have a national animal or flower? Do you know the words to your national anthem? 5. Where is your hometown? Do you like your hometown? What is the population of your hometown? How often do you visit your hometown? What is your hometown famous for? What does your hometown produce? Are there any Japanese restaurants in your hometown? Would you like to settle down in your hometown? What is the best thing about your hometown? In your opinion, what is the worst thing about your hometown? 6. Can you speak any Japanese? Can you read hiragana or katakana? Can you drive a car? Can you cook very well? Can you knit or sew? Are you a very good dancer? Can you fix a car to some extent? How far can you swim? Are you very good at carpentry? Are you a good painter? What do you think are your hidden talents? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Chapter 2. Personality. 1. Which do you like, tea or coffee? Which do you prefer, dogs or cats? Do you like Coke or Pepsi? What is your favorite day of the week? What is your favorite color? What is your favorite animal? Which do you prefer, poetry or modern art? Which do you prefer to sleep in, a bed or a futon? Who is your favorite artist? Do you prefer living in a big city or a small town? What model of car is your favorite? Do you enjoy writing letters? What languages would you like to study? What is your most prized possession? Do you mind cold weather? Which country would you like to live in? Where do you want to live after retirement? Do you have any idea? Who would you least want to be stranded with on a desert island? 2. Can you sleep very well every night? Do you keep a diary? Are you an organized person? Do you keep your room neat and tidy? Do you think you are a reliable person? When you make a promise, do you almost always keep your word? Would you say you are an extrovert or an introvert? Are you outgoing? Do you find it easy to express your opinion? In what situations do you get nervous? Do you like to try new things? Can you get used to a new environment rather easily and quickly? Do you consider yourself to be ambitious? Do you think you are artistic? What are your bad habits? How often do you give to charity? Are you interested in philosophy? If you witnessed a crime, what would you do? What qualities do you respect in people? Do you think Japanese people are more reserved than Western people? If you won 100 million yen, what would you do with it? 3. Do you often laugh? Do you sometimes tell jokes? Do you think you have a good sense of humor? Do you know anybody who has a very good sense of humor? Do you like romantic comedies? Do you like slapstick humor? Do you like black comedies? Do you go to stand-up comedy shows? Do you read the newspaper comics? Who are some famous comedians from Canada? Will you teach me one good English joke? Are you sometimes sarcastic? They say that sarcasm is the lowest form of humor. Do you agree? Does British humor differ from North American humor? 4. Do you have a dream? Would you like to be rich and famous? Would you like to live to be 100 years old? What did you want to be when you were 12 years old? Would you like to publish a book or release a CD? Do you know anyone who has realized most of his or her dreams? What is your biggest wish? What do you wish you were good at? If you were rich, what would you buy? If you could meet anyone in the world, who would you like to meet? 5. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you have a lucky number? What things are considered to be a symbol of bad luck in Canada? What numbers are considered to be bad luck in Japan? Do you know? Do you believe in good luck charms? Do you read your horoscope? What is your zodiac sign? Do you believe in fate? Do you think that coincidences have meaning? Do you believe in ESP? Have you ever seen a UFO? What is your blood type? Do you believe that blood type can predict personality? Do you think that some people can predict the future? Have you ever visited a psychic or a fortune teller? Are there any famous haunted houses near your home? What are some superstitions in your country? Chapter 3. Pastimes. 1. What do you like to do in your free time? How many hours a week do you watch TV? Do you sometimes go to art museums? Do you often go to the library? Do you often cook? How often do you chat with your friends on the phone? What is your favorite thing to do to relax? Have you ever played pachinko? What do you like to do on very sunny Sundays? 2. Do you watch a lot of TV? What is your favorite TV program? Do you subscribe to cable TV? Do you know how many major TV stations there are in Tokyo? What is the most popular television program in your country? Which is the biggest television station in the United States? Recently, what is the most popular TV program in Canada? Who are some famous TV personalities in your country? Are there many educational TV programs for children in England? Are many foreign programs, such as American dramas or BBC educational programs, shown on TV in Australia? What is a sitcom? What do you think of Japanese TV programs? 3. Do you like movies? How often do you go to the movies? Do you like Hollywood movies? Do you like animated movies? Do you like independent movies? Do you sometimes watch horror movies? Which do you prefer, comedies or suspense movies? What kind of movies do you prefer? Have you ever seen a Japanese movie? Are you interested in movies made in Europe? Do you sometimes rent videos? Who's your favorite actor? Who is your favorite actress? Do you know much about movie directors? Which movies do you recommend? What are the most impressive movies that you have seen so far? What does PG mean? 4. What kind of music do you like? How many CDs do you have? Do you enjoy Japanese popular music? Which do you prefer, jazz or pop music? Which kind of pop music do you prefer, British or American? Are you familiar with Latin music? Who are some famous singers from your country? What is your favorite musical instrument? Can you play any musical instruments? Do you ever go to the symphony? How many concerts a year do you go to? Who is your favorite music artist? Who is your favorite classical music composer? Can you read music? Have you ever taken piano or guitar lessons before? Do you have a high-quality stereo system? 5. Do you like to sing? What kind of songs do you like to sing? How often do you go to karaoke? Is karaoke popular in your country? Do you have karaoke bars in your home country? Is karaoke expensive in your country? Do you ever sing any Beatles songs? Does your company have karaoke parties? Why do you think karaoke is so popular in Japan? 6. Do you like to read books? What kind of books do you like to read? Do you buy a lot of books? Do you have any favorite books? Do you prefer fiction or nonfiction? Do you read poetry? Do you ever read scientific books? Do you read history books? Do you ever read comics? Who is your favorite author? Who is the most famous Australian writer? Have you ever read any Shakespeare? Have you read any books written by a Japanese person? Would you call yourself an avid reader? Do you belong to a book club? Have you ever read Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway? Have you ever read The Tale of Genji? What was your favorite book when you were a child? What books did you read in high school? Who are some famous writers in your country? 2 Japanese have won Nobel Prizes in literature. Do you know their names? How do Japanese comics and ones from your country differ? 7. Do you read the newspaper every day? Do you subscribe to any newspapers or magazines? Which newspaper do you prefer to read? Which section of the newspaper do you read first? Do you often read the editorials? Do you read tabloids? What are the names of the most popular newspapers in your country? Do you know which newspaper has the largest circulation in Japan? Do you regularly read magazines? Do you read Time magazine or Newsweek? What kind of magazines do you read? What is the #1 business magazine in your country? What is the #1 fashion magazine in England? In your country, do you have sports newspapers similar to those in Japan? How do American magazines and Japanese magazines differ? 8. Do you have a garden? What is your favorite flower? Do you grow vegetables? Do you have a green thumb? Do you know much about growing roses? Do you grow herbs? Do you know the flower called hydrangea? When are cosmos flowers in bloom? Do you have cherry blossoms in your country? Do you often buy flowers? Do many people have gardens in England? Do you like Japanese-style gardens? Which do you prefer, Japanese-style gardens or Western-style gardens? How do gardens in your country differ from gardens in Japan? 9. Do you have many hobbies? What are your hobbies? Do you like photography? Can you draw well? Can you paint well? Do you enjoy taking walks? Do you like cooking? Do you make pottery? Do you play chess? Have you ever tried Japanese chess? Are you interested in Japanese flower arrangement? Have you ever studied calligraphy? Do you sometimes play cards? Do you study any foreign languages? Is bird watching popular in the U.S.? What does DIY mean? What hobbies are popular in your country? Chapter 4. Friends. 1. Do you think you have many friends? Do you have many Japanese friends? How many good friends do you think you have? How often do you see your friends? Do you turn to your friends for advice? Do you find it difficult to make new friends? Do you try to make friends? Do you have any long-distance friendships? Do you have any friends that live overseas? Have you ever gone to visit your friends who live in foreign countries? What do you usually do when you are with your friends? How often do you meet your friends for dinner or coffee? Do you stay in touch with some of your childhood friends? Do you prefer to have many superficial friends or a few close friends? What is your definition of a true friend? Chapter 5. Work. 1. What is your occupation? What kind of company do you work for? Where is your office? Do you like your job? How long have you worked at your current company? How many hours a week do you work? Do you often work overtime? What do you do in an average day at your job? Do you get along well with your boss? Do you enjoy working with your coworkers? Do you mind working on Sundays? Do you consider your job to be difficult? Have you ever worked as an English teacher? Which would you like to work for, a big company or a small one? Would you like to be self-employed? Which is more important to you, money or job satisfaction? What are the good points of your job? What are the bad points of your job? Do you think that Japanese people work too hard? Do you know the word headhunting? Do you know the word freelance? How long is the average work week in your home country? If you could have any job, what would it be? In general, do you think that work dress codes in Japan are too restrictive? 2. Do you have a part-time job? Do you have a second job? Did you have a part-time job when you were a student? Many young people in Japan have 2 or 3 part-time jobs. How about in your country? Have you ever worked for a fast food restaurant such as McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken? What are some typical part-time jobs for high school students in your country? Is it usual for high school students to have a part-time job? Can you receive paid holidays from a part-time job in your country? Would you prefer to have a part-time job or a full-time job? How do part-time jobs in Japan differ from those in your country? 3. How fast can you type? Can you operate a PC well? What is your best skill? Are you a good listener? Are you good at teaching information to other people? Are you very good at solving math problems? Are you good at sales? Have you ever studied sales talk? Can you negotiate very well? Have you ever received special training for business? Can you manage staff very well? Are you very good at mediating? 4. What qualifications do you have? Do you possess any certificates or licenses? Do you have a university degree? Do you want to get a master's degree? What is your area of expertise? Have you ever tried to take the Japanese proficiency test? I heard that the bar exam is easy in the United States. Is that true? Japan is very license-oriented. Do you agree? Are licenses or certificates important in your country? What kind of qualifications do you need to become a school teacher in your country? Many people in Japan have qualifications that they do not utilize. What do you think of this? Chapter 6. Lifestyle. 1. Do you live on your own or with your family? Are you very busy every day? Do you enjoy your everyday life? Do you lead an exciting life? Do you have a car or a motorcycle? Do you take the train every day? How long is your commute to work or school? When do you usually get up? What is the first thing you do after you get up? Are you a night person or a morning person? What do you usually do on the weekend? How often do you receive phone calls from your friends? Do you wear glasses or contact lenses? How often do you get your hair cut? How often do you eat out? Do you usually go to church on Sundays? How often do you go on trips? Do you invest in the stock market? Do you prefer a busy life or a relaxed, slow-paced life? 2. Do you live in a house or an apartment? Is your home comfortable? How many rooms are there in your home? What is your home like? How long have you lived in your current home? Is there a park near your home? Is there a laundromat near your home? What kinds of things are near your house? How far is your office from your home? Does your house have tatami mats? Does your room face south? Does it get plenty of sunshine? Is your neighborhood quiet and safe? What is your home like in your country? 3. Do you have a pet? Did you have a pet when you were a child? Is it popular to own a dog or a cat in New Zealand? Can you have a pet in an apartment in the London area? Do you know anyone who owns an unusual pet? What animal do you think makes the best pet? What is a vet? What are the pros and cons of having a pet? 4. How many telephones do you have in your house? Do you have a cellular phone? Do you have an answering machine? Do you ever use your cellular phone while riding the train? Do you think that using a cellular phone on the train is rude? What are the pros and cons of having a cell phone? Are cellular phones popular in your country? How do Japanese cellular phones compare to those of your country? 5. Have you ever been a volunteer before? Do you participate in any community activities? Is volunteering popular in your country? In your country, do high school students do volunteer work? What are the benefits of volunteering? Do you feel that volunteering will help future job prospects? I heard that volunteering is very popular in Boston. Do you know anything about that? Chapter 7. Family Life. 1. Did you go to kindergarten? Do you have any friends from your elementary school days? What games did you play when you were an elementary school student? When you were young, did you often play outside? Did you play the piano when you were a child? What was your favorite childhood toy? What time was your bedtime when you were 10 years old? Did you have a curfew? Have you ever got into a big disagreement with one of your friends? What is your fondest memory from childhood? What is an embarrassing thing that happened to you when you were younger? Were your parents very strict? Did your parents have a strong influence on you? Was there much sibling rivalry in your family? 2. Do you have a large family? How often do you visit your parents these days? Do you get along well with your parents? Do you get along well with your in-laws? What did you give your mother last Christmas? Are you close to your grandparents? What is the average age for getting married in Australia? Are many young adults dependent on their parents in your country? Do parents in North America usually pay for their children's university tuition? Do mothers and fathers equally share the responsibility of child raising in your country? Do you believe that parents really understand their children? Do you feel that Japanese children are a little spoilt? In general, do you feel that Japanese fathers don't spend enough time with their children? In your opinion, what are the dangers of spoiling children? In Japan, many high school teachers would not like to go to school. What about in your country? Chapter 8. Personal Experience. 1. Have you ever talked with a very famous person before? Have you ever seen a very famous movie star or a rock star? Have you ever ridden on an elephant? Have you ever gone skydiving? Have you ever donated blood? Have you ever made a speech in front of more than 100 people? Have you ever worked for an English school? What is the most adventurous thing you have ever done? What is the strangest food you have eaten? Where is the most romantic place you have ever visited? Have you ever been to the ballet? Have you ever gone scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef? You have received a love letter before, haven't you? Have you ever experienced culture shock? Chapter 9. Sports. 1. What sports do you like to watch? What sports do you follow? Who is your favorite tennis player? Do you know Japan's national sport? Do you know much about sumo wrestling? What are the major sports in North America? What are the most popular sports in Europe? What is the most popular sport in the world? What do you think the second most popular sport in the world is? What sports are popular in your country? Do you know who Japan's most famous athlete is? Who is your country's most famous athlete? What is your home country's national sport? Do you really like to watch the Olympics? Did you attend the Olympics in Sydney? What is your favorite Olympic sport? What is your opinion of the violence that occurs at some European football games? I think that ice hockey is a very violent and dangerous sport. What do you think? 2. Who is the best baseball team in Japan? Who is your favorite baseball team? Who is the most famous baseball player in Japan? Do you know? Have you ever attended a professional baseball game? Do you follow Major League Baseball? Did you know that there are some Japanese who play Major League Baseball? Do they play baseball in Europe? Is baseball popular in your country? Does your hometown have a baseball team? Did you play Little League Baseball when you were young? 3. Do you like to play sports? Are you athletic? Do you prefer winter or summer sports? How many kilometers can you swim? Can you ski well? Which do you prefer, skiing or snowboarding? Do you play golf? Do you regularly play tennis? What is your best bowling score? Do you belong to a sports club? Do you practice martial arts? Are you interested in practicing judo? Is ice skating popular in England? What sports are popular to play in Australia? What sports did you play as a child? What kind of sports teams did your high school have? Did you play on any school teams? Did you have a sports day at your school? Chapter 10. Shopping. 1. Do you like shopping? How often do you go shopping? Where is your favorite place to shop? Is there a supermarket near your home? I think shopping is extremely popular in Japan. Do you agree? Is it true that mail order is popular in Canada? Have you ever bought anything through mail order? Have you ever bought anything at a flea market? Are you a frugal shopper? Do you comparison shop? What are some typical souvenirs from your country? What are shopping malls like in your country? What is your opinion of discount stores in Japan? Do you think that Japanese people shop too much? 2. Is there a convenience store near your home? Do you sometimes buy meals from a convenience store? Do you think that Japanese convenience store lunchboxes are delicious? Do you pay your bills at the convenience store? What kinds of products are available at convenience stores in your home country? Do you think that the prices in Japanese convenience stores are reasonable? I hear that ATMs are available at some convenience stores in your country. Is this true? How would you compare Japanese convenience stores with the ones in your country? 3. Do you often go to department stores? Which department store in Japan do you like the best? What are the big-name department stores in your country? Which is the largest department store in England? Do department stores have a bargain season in your country? Which department stores cater to the young generation? Which department stores cater to housewives? What is your opinion of Japanese department stores? How do department stores in your country differ from those in Japan? Chapter 11. Vacations, Travel. 1. Have you ever visited India? Have you ever been to Italy? Of all the places you have traveled, which is your favorite? How many countries have you been to? Which do you prefer, traveling by air or by sea? How many times have you visited Kamakura? Where is your favorite place to visit in Japan? Where do you plan to travel next? How long does it take to travel from your country to Japan by plane? When you travel, do you send postcards to your friends and family? Have you met any interesting people during your travels? What historical sites have you visited? Have you ever stayed in a Japanese-style inn? Which do you prefer, resort vacations or backpacking vacations? What surprised you most when you visited a foreign country for the first time? Do you think that Japanese vacations are generally too short? In your opinion, what is the most popular tourist destination in the world? What is your idea of a dream vacation? 2. Where did you go for your last vacation? Did you go on a group tour? Did you travel by yourself or with your friends? How long did you stay there? How was the weather? Did you stay at a resort hotel? What was the hotel like? What were the people like? What did you do there? How much money did you spend? What souvenirs did you buy? What kind of food did you eat? Did you experience any problems? Would you recommend that place? What did you like best about this place? 3. How long have you been in Japan? Are the Japanese kind and polite? Where have you traveled in Japan? What area of Japan is your favorite? Have you been to any Japanese festivals? Have you made many Japanese friends? Was it difficult to find a job in Japan? What aspects of Japan do you like? Will you tell me what aspects of Japan you do not like? Did you have any difficulties when you first came to Japan? Why did you choose to come to Japan? What was your first impression of Japan? What was the strangest thing you experienced in Japan? What is your opinion of the public transportation system in Japan? How is Japan different from your home country? Chapter 12. Education. 1. Did you enjoy high school? Did you have to wear a school uniform in your high school? Did you attend a private school or a public school? How did you do in school? What was your best subject in high school? What is PE? When you were in school, what extracurricular activities did you do? How many hours a week did you study math in your junior high school? Did your senior high school offer Japanese language education? Did your senior high school have strict rules? Have you ever cheated on an exam? You have acted in a school play, haven't you? English education has begun in elementary school in Japan. Do you think this is a good idea? School bullying is a problem in Japan. What about in your country? 2. Have you ever studied French or German? Is educational background important in your country? What are the top universities in Canada? Can you name some prestigious universities in Australia? Did your university have some foreign students? How many Canadian students go abroad to study? In your country, which is more popular, private or public universities? Do you have to take university entrance exams in your country? Do you think the Japanese university entrance exams are too stressful? Do you feel that the majority of university students in your country study hard? I think our education system should offer more art and music classes. What do you think? I feel these days Japanese parents don't teach their children self-discipline. What is your opinion? What do you think of English education in Japan? How would you compare universities in your country with those of Japan? I hear that in the U.S. going to graduate school is common. Is that true? Chapter 13. Health. 1. Are you very health conscious? Do you have a family doctor? Do you take vitamins? Do you have government health insurance? How often do you see a doctor? How often do you go to the dentist? What do you think about herbal medicines? Which do you prefer, Western medicine or Chinese medicine? What do you do when you suffer from insomnia? The average weight for men in Japan is increasing. Why do you think this is happening? Why do you think the life expectancy of Japanese people is so high? What is the number one cause of death in your country? What is the average life expectancy in your country? Do you believe that hot springs are good for your health? Have you ever tried acupressure or acupuncture? My grandmother thinks that laughter is the best medicine. What do you think? Some people say meditation is very good for your health. What do you think? 2. What is your favorite food? What food do you dislike? Do you like sushi? Do you like spicy food? Which do you prefer, Japanese or Italian food? Do you eat a lot of vegetables? Do you eat fruit every day? Can you cook any Japanese dishes? What Japanese dishes do you dislike? What is your favorite dessert? What food is popular in your country? Do you like to have barbecues? Do you like Japanese oranges? What food is famous in Japan for being healthy? Do you know? Have you ever tried fermented soybeans called natto? What are the differences between Japanese vegetables and vegetables you get in your country? 3. Do you eat breakfast every day? Do you often skip meals? How often do you eat junk food? Do you know much about nutrition? Do you know that Japanese green tea is very high in vitamins? Have you ever bought a sports drink? Do you eat a balanced diet? Do you believe that the average Japanese diet is becoming less healthy? Are there many vegetarians in your country? Is it difficult to be a vegetarian in Japan? What is vitamin deficiency? Do you know what Japanese food is high in iron? Have you ever heard the proverb, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away"? How would you compare the average Japanese diet with the average diet in your country? 4. Do you think you are in good shape? How often do you go for a walk? Do you belong to a sports club? How often do you exercise? Do you think that you should exercise more? What form of exercise do you prefer? What exercise do you think is the most difficult? Have you ever tried aerobics? Do you ever weight train? How many push-ups can you do? Is exercising very popular in England? Do you have enough sports facilities in the U.S.? 5. Do you have a stressful life? Do you feel that life in Japan is stressful? What are your symptoms of stress? What do you do to get rid of your stress? What things cause you to feel stressed? What things soothe your nerves? Do you know anybody who died from overwork? Do companies offer stress leave in your home country? Do many business people in your country suffer from stress-related illnesses, such as ulcers or diabetes? My friend recommended acupressure as a treatment for stress. What do you think? 6. Do you sometimes catch a cold? How many colds do you catch a year? What do you do when you have a cold? What do you do when you have a headache? My mother says sleeping is the best medicine. What do you think? What's the flu? Do you have any allergies? What is a common allergy in Japan? Are many people allergic to seafood in your country? Have you ever suffered from a serious illness? Japanese people often go to the hospital when they have a cold. How about in your country? 7. Do you smoke? Do many high school students smoke in Scotland? In your country, what percentage of the population smokes? Do you think that smoking is decreasing or increasing? Do you know anybody who is trying to quit smoking? Are you allowed to smoke in your workplace? What is the legal age for buying cigarettes in your country? Do you feel that cigarette vending machines are safe for children? Do you think that public buildings should be non-smoking buildings? What are the health risks associated with smoking? What are some of your country's smoking policies? Geography. 1. Which country has the largest population? Which country has the second largest population? Do you know how many people live in Tokyo? Which station is the busiest in Tokyo? How many people commute into Tokyo every day? Where is the biggest city in the world? Which country is the biggest based on land area? Which country is larger in size, Australia or the U.S.? What is the capital city of New Zealand? I heard that Canada has over 2 million lakes. Is that true? How high is Mount Everest? Which mountain is the second highest in Japan? Do you know? Can you name some famous national parks in the U.S.? What is the name of the largest river in France? Do you have glaciers in Alaska? Which is colder, the Arctic or Antarctica? What is the population distribution of Japan? Seasons and weather. 1. Which season is your favorite? Which is colder, New York or Chicago? How long is winter in Sydney? Which is the coldest month in Japan? Do you know? Which is the hottest month in Texas? Do you have cherry blossoms in your country? Do you have a rainy season in your country? When is the rainy season in Los Angeles? Osaka is very hot and humid in summer. Did you know that? Did you know that there is no rainy season in Hokkaido? Does it snow a lot in England? Do they have snowstorms in New York? What is the climate like in London? I hear that Detroit is very cold in winter. Is that right? How is the weather in New Zealand? When is the best season in your home country? What is the average summer temperature in San Francisco? Do you have tornadoes in your home country?